Hey there, guys. Welcome to my channel. I am Cerise, and today we're going to talk about something that I'm doing that is a little bit different. I am going on a 40-day cleanse. So first of all, what I'm going to do in the beginning of this video is talk to you about a 40-day cleanse and how it can help anyone. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical professional. All I'm doing is talking to one faster to another, or to someone who wants to try this because they know the benefits of the fast, or if you don't, you're going to find out today. All right, so, and I'm going to give you the background history and everything on why I am actually doing this fast. So first of all, when you exercise, because a lot of people are saying to me, Cerise, why don't you just exercise and eat healthy? And I do that. I eat very healthy. I don't exercise all the time. I don't have any excuses, but I'm usually working on the computer or on my cell phone from the moment I open my eyes until the moment I go to sleep. And yes, there was a point where I was exercising, but it sometimes takes effort and energy to do that. I know, no excuses, but let me carry on. So I normally do eat healthy, but sometimes when I'm out drinking and I'm hanging out in town, I live in the Dominican Republic, and there's a very popular town here by the name of Silsua, and I'm a relocation specialist here. I help people turn their lives around and relocate, and so I have a lot of appointments outside. So when we do socialize, we get drinking, and that's not good for the body. And then when you get home, you don't feel like exercising anyway. Well, I don't. I can only speak for me. Now, let's get to the basics of what the fast is really all about. It's 40 days, water only. Now, what is so special about that is once you start eating, okay, let's first go into food. When you eat food, it turns the food into glucose, right? It breaks it all down. It turns food into glucose. That glucose is used as energy to help your body operate. But when you don't eat, there's something else that happens. It's called ketosis. And that's where your body breaks down the fat that you have stored, and it starts to eat at your fat. Something else very special that happens during fasting is, now I know I'm going to pronounce this wrong, but it's okay, but autophagy. And autophagy is AUTOPHAGY. And what that does is it goes inside of your cells and it just rejuvenates the cells. It helps to wash out all of the junk out of your cells. Now, those are two main things that you really need to research and find out for yourself how this type of fast, whether it's 3 days, 7 days, 21 days, or 40 days, can work for you. Now, I chose 40 days because of a message that I received. So now I'm just going to go into what I've been doing for the last week, because I've been doing it for the last week and I'm pretty okay. Today I was in the grocery store and I was looking at everything that I want to eat, but I didn't eat it because right now my health is way more important to me. So let's just go back to basics. A week and a half ago, I was laying in bed and I rolled over, and my breast right here, it was so tender and so sore, and it was larger than my other breast. I worried, as any of us would. So I went online immediately and, Googling, why is my breast sore? What causes it? And, there's so many different factors, but of course, I Googled cancer. And what does cancer feel like in a breast? And of course, you can't really tell by just touching it, I know, but you can get a good idea by doing the breast check. So I did the breast check, and it said normally when it's cancer, it's like a hardy rock type of substance. Well, mine wasn't hard rock, and it was just a little inflamed. Well, inflamed enough to hurt, and it was tender, and my nipple was inverted a little bit on the side. So that's what happened, and it was really tender, and I was really scared, and immediately my health came to me, and also how much I've been battering my body for the last 4 years. And so I was laying down on my bed and I was praying and meditating. The next day, I assumed, because, I was meditating and praying, that it would feel less painful. And it wasn't less painful at all. So, of course, I was just as afraid. Then I was like, okay, what do I do in my meditation the next day? And my Holy Spirit said to me in my head right away, fast. Just like that, fast. Now, I know about fasting. I've never fasted for 40 days before, but I do know about fasting. My dad, when I was growing up, was a Rastafarian. He didn't really follow Haile Selassie, but he did follow the diet of a Rastafarian. And that's primarily no milk, no mayonnaise. Everything is ital, they call it ital. That means hardly any salt, anything, like no salt, absolutely nothing. A lot of greens and a lot of smoothies and just eating raw fruits and vegetables, things that fall off the tree for you and die. And if you don't eat it, it replants itself. And things that come out of the ground for you and die for you to eat. And that's what my dad raised me on for a good part of my life. Of course, there was some meat eating and stuff, but I was never a meat eater. And I'm going to get more into that in a second. So now what happened was I remained a vegetarian for many years, not a vegan, but a vegetarian, until I came here to the Dominican Republic 4 years ago. I started to eat rice, something that I didn't even like before, and meat. And just of late, within the last, I would say 8 months, I started to eat chicken wings every single day. And I started to gain weight. I started to see it in my chin and my shoulders, and my breasts were just swelling out, like not inflamed out, but just getting larger and larger, my midsection. And I was just not feeling like me, you know? And so when the fast came in to my head, I said, okay, this is something that I have to do. This is something that I need to start researching. Even though I'm used to what fasting is from my childhood, it's still something that I need to just kind of get up to date on. And so I looked online, what you can do as well, and I looked at so many different YouTube videos. I binge watched YouTube videos all that day, and I did not take a bite to eat, and all I did was drink water. And then throughout the days, little things started to be suggested to me from people that are supporters and people that are just reminding me of what my mom and dad used to do when I was younger. Now, my dad would use cayenne pepper, carrot juice, and mix that together. And my mom also liked that. But speaking of my mom right now, she has stage 4 cancer. And it's not likely that she's going to pull through it. They took her off chemo. It wasn't working for her, and they sent her home. And I said to her the other day, even before my breast swelled up, I said, Mom, remember what Daddy used to do? Just fast, Mom. It does so much to the body. Fasting removes a lot of things. And I encourage you, if you're not going to fast, to at least look at the benefits of fasting before you knock somebody else and, accuse them of starving themselves. Because I do need to lose weight. But my main motive for doing this whole fast is not for weight loss. It is for health reasons, for ketosis and autophagy. And so the end of the day, I told my mom to do that because fasting, it shrinks tumors. Fasting also, it increases your cognitive skills. It also, decreases the onset of wrinkles and aging and all of that stuff. And there's a whole host more, includes inflammation. My breast right now is not as, it's fine. I can squeeze it. It's not tender. The nipple is normal again. I feel good. But there's also a few other things that's going on with me right now, and that is this. Now, I'm going to show a photo right here, or a video rather, right here. And this video shows how my neck looked. I was taking such bad care of myself that my liver was having enough. My liver was like, no more, please. And I wasn't listening. And I was getting messages, when I would go out and have a couple of drinks more than what I should. And the next morning feeling very lethargic and laying in my bed and saying, oh my gosh, why did I drink so much last night? And just feeling like I was putting real number on my liver. And I could feel that my liver was larger on this side, like my belly on this side was larger than on this side. I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to put this down. Let me see. While I'm sitting down, let me see if I can manage it. There we go. Look. I'm going to pull up my top because this is real deal Holyfield. And I want you guys to see what I'm talking about. This will all be gone soon, so I'm not embarrassed. Here we go. Look it. See all that fat? Anyway, look right here. And then look right here. That's the side that the liver's on. Yes. So it is very uncomfortable for me because I know for sure that I'm wearing this top on purpose so I can show you guys my size as well. Here, let me just stand up and show you guys my size while we are on the camera. Here's my leg size. Here's my belly size and everything here. I'm serious about this and I want to share it with you guys because I want you guys to know the benefits of fasting, and I also want you to understand how serious I really am about this, not only for me, but for you guys. Now, this right here, what I'm drinking, cayenne pepper, water, and lemon. Well, lime. It's supposed to help cut the fat, and it's also supposed to kind of subdue your hunger. So let me go from day one. Day one, I was fine. Day two, I felt a little bit like cravings. I wasn't hungry, but I was like, oh my gosh, I'd love to have just some popcorn. Just some popcorn can be okay. But then I was like, no, this inflamed breast was a real concern to me. So then I was great. And then, but I did notice by the end of the day, I had a little bit of back pain, which is common with some fasters. So the back pain was there and I just drank more water. And then I went to sleep that night and I had restless legs and I drank more water. And water was helping me. It was just flushing out things. And then the fourth day, it was just like gravy. Fifth day, sixth day, seventh day. So now I'm into the eighth day and I feel really good. And I'm not tired. I'm more energetic than anything. Every day was fine. Today, I do feel like, okay, this is the hump day. You know, I feel like this is the do or die day. Some of you guys, it may be the third day. You know, some of you guys, it may be whatever. But for me, I wasn't doing it for weight. I was doing it for my breast. Now, in regards to weight so far, I would say I lost probably about 5 pounds. Not noticeable enough for other people to notice yet, but for me to notice. I can cross my legs when I'm putting my pants on. I don't have to like lean up against the wall. Very little things, but they're enough to make a difference. So now, you know, meat is something that I never did like. And I know a lot of people are into the keto these days, and you really need to research that a little bit more. Just look at the negative benefits of keto. Not only that, look up in the Bible, chapter 1 in Genesis, chapter 1, verse 24. Okay? That is the original diet that we're supposed to be eating. And I'm not going to say anything more about it. You guys just check it out online. Now, when it comes to me growing up as a young girl, I never could consume meat and digest it very well. I can remember when my dad told my mom, we're not going to feed meat to the kids any longer. My mom was like, what? We can't do that to our children. That's starving them. That is depriving them. That's killing them. And my dad was like, no, it's not. Like, we really need to start eating healthier because in the future, there's going to be a lot of, you know, stuff in the body that's not going to be normal. And this was way before cancer was prevalent. So my mom was like, okay. And she was usually a follower of my dad. Like, she submitted usually to my father. My dad was the head of the household, and what he said would go, you know, old-fashioned family. But she used to also feel like sometimes he was a little too severe in his beliefs. Nowadays, when I look back on his beliefs, they were just gems of knowledge from God. But my mom, she wasn't as wise, I would say. She loved yoga. She loved cleansing and juicing. Back in the day, no one used to cleanse the way my parents would. You would never hear of it. My mom loved the cayenne pepper and the carrot juice, and she would love it. She could feel it going through her body, and she would often say, wow, this is like a punch of powerful energy all the time. But she just wasn't cool with the no eating meat thing at all. And so I can remember one time my dad was at home and we were going to go for a family drive. And my dad just decided that he was going to do some work from home. And so my mother, myself, and my two younger sisters, and I think my older sister, I can't remember right now, we went out for a drive in the car. And we ended up going by a McDonald's. And everyone in the car was like, oh, can we just go to McDonald's, please? We miss burgers. And, my mom was like, okay. And I was like, Mom, we're not supposed to. And she's like, Cerise, don't say anything. Don't tell your dad. I'm going to get you guys each a junior burger. It's really nothing, but you might need it. And I'm like, but none of us are hungry for it. And she's like, you don't want a burger? And I was like, okay, because who's going to say no to a kid's meal? So we all went through the drive-through and we got a kid's meal. And then that night when we got home, I got really sick. And nobody else in the house got sick. And I called my dad to the room. So he was like, this is so strange. And he felt I had a fever, I had diarrhea, I had vomiting, and it wasn't cold and flu season. Nobody was sick. And so he said to me, he's like, what happened? What's going on? And I said, I don't know. And, he could tell that I was holding something back. And I didn't want my parents to argue. So I was holding my mom's secret, which was not fair. Never ask your children to hold secrets from the other parent. It's just so unfair, and it's not a natural thing to do, And so my dad called my mom into the room and he said, what's going on? Like, you need to tell me because we're going to have to take Cerise to the hospital. She's vomiting and she can't stop. She's diarrhea at like the same time and she's going to dehydrate. And my mom had to admit it. And she's like, well, I got her a burger today at McDonald's. Could that be it? And my dad was so disappointed. And he's like, woman, how could you not listen to me? Like, that meat is poison, especially McDonald's. It's not even, proper. And in those days, we didn't know what organic was. I'm 50 years old now. I was 6 years old at the time. We weren't doing the whole organic thing in the world yet, So my dad was like, please don't do this. And so he, gave me some electrolytes through minerals and stuff like that. And I was okay. By the next morning, I didn't have to go to the hospital, but I took the day off school. Fast forward to that Christmas. That Christmas, we went to my grandmother's house, and I probably wasn't eating meat after that burger for about 5 months. We get to Christmas time, and then at Christmas time, there's like this big ham. Now, we never ate ham in my house anyway, so I never tried it before. I didn't know what ham tasted like. I knew what chicken tasted like prior to my dad converting over to being a vegetarian, and also like fish and stuff like that, but really not a lot of, we didn't buy ham. We were a family of 5 kids and my mom and dad, and money needed to stretch. So my mom and dad would always buy things that were easy to make and also would stretch. So they didn't usually buy a lot of bacon either. Bacon wasn't a main staple in our household either. So we got to my grandmother's house, and my grandmother is my mom's mom, and she was aware of how we were being raised now. And she said, so Keeper, my dad's name, she said, so Keeper, are you going to allow the kids to eat some Christmas dinner? And he's like, no, Mom. He also called my mother's mom. And he's like, no, Mom, you know what? We're on a healthy eating lifestyle now. And she's like, what is this stuff? Like this Rasta stuff. And nowadays, it's not just Rasta stuff. Nowadays, it's the way to live, for most people. But she's like, what is this Rasta stuff? You guys are just going to melt to death. You guys are just not going to be very healthy. You don't know what you're doing to these kids. Everyone needs to eat meat. It's protein. And my dad said, no, for now, we're not going to. Respect. I respect you. Please respect me and what I'm doing for my family. So that was it. And I looked at that ham, and she put it on the table, and it was right in front of me. And did it ever smell good? And I was like, oh my gosh. And I looked at my dad and I said, Daddy, please, because I never tasted a ham like that, a Christmas ham like that before that anyway. Even, like I said, even before we went through this lifestyle change. So I'm like, Daddy, please. And he's like, no, Cerise, it's going to make you sick. And I was like, please, I promise, just a little piece so I can try it, just so I can see what it tastes like. And my grandmother said, oh, come on. And she sliced a piece before my dad could say no. And she said, put it on a plate, just a little piece like this. She put it on the plate and she said, let the girl try a little bit of ham. It's not going to hurt her. And my dad was like, and the whole, like, we had a lot of family there, so it was peer pressure, you know. And my mom even looked at him and she was like, keep her, I don't think it's going to hurt her that much, let her just have a little bite, she's gone a long time without meat, you know. And my dad said, she's gone a long time without meat and she's healthy, like, why are we going to do this to her now? And then everyone's like, just let her have it, keep her, what's the big deal? And it was like so much. And my dad was like, okay, all right, go ahead, eat it. Well, I had to go to the doctor the next day. Same thing happened as it happened with the McDonald's. We went home that night, vomiting, diarrhea, just to the point where I was so weak, I couldn't hardly breathe. And so my dad said to my mom, take her to the doctor. Like, I don't even know what to say to you. You're not following me. What you did last night at your mother's house was just completely disrespectful. Take our daughter to the doctor right now. They took me to the doctor, and the doctor said there's nothing wrong with her. She just probably had some food poisoning or maybe just the 24-hour bug. And that was it. So since then, I've always been very careful eating meat. And I did eat meat for a portion of my teens. And then I ate meat again in my early 20s, but then I cut it. My early 20s up until I dabbled with it a couple of times, not enough to say I would eat it. I would chew it up and spit it out into a napkin. I always felt so guilty eating it too, because I just felt like I was eating like a living thing. It didn't die for me. We had to kill it for me to eat it. You know what I mean? For all of us to eat meat, it's not dying for us, like things falling off a tree, or like fruits falling off a tree, or fruits and vegetables coming out of the ground. You know, we were deliberately taking a life in order to eat it. So, you know, I felt like just it was unnecessary, you know. And it takes me back to Numbers, you know, Numbers in the Bible, where Moses was in the desert and he said to God, these people are not wanting to eat manna any longer. Like, they want to eat meat. They're begging for meat. They want to eat meat. And God said, okay, let them eat meat. Not for 5 days, not for 30 days. Let them eat meat until they are regurgitating it out of their nose and their mouths. Their noses and their mouths. And that's what happened to me. I'm at the point now where my body is not working the way it should. I broke out in that rash and I still have a little bit of it, and I've had it for a couple of months. So that tells me that my liver is not functioning the way it should. But I'll do some updates and stuff like that with shorts on my channel, like just the little shorts. So check out my shorts. They're going to be under 60 seconds long, and I'll give a few tips and I'll give a few updates on how I'm doing each day. At the end of the day, at the end of the fast, it will be December 15th when I am completely done the fast. I will not be drinking alcohol. I will not be drinking juices. I will consume water, cold water, and I'll make some teas. I'll put a little hot water with cayenne. Cayenne tastes very nice. I grew up with cayenne pepper. And throughout this fast in the last week, a lot of you guys have been contacting me and telling me what you use. And I want to thank you for that. And I do want to tell you guys, when you do your fast, you may encounter the same thing. Some people will worry about you so much, and they'll be like, be careful, don't faint, or be careful, you know, don't starve yourself, you know. And then they don't realize that you should have been careful while you were over drinking, while you were overeating, while you were doing no exercise. You know, that's when we should have been careful. But when we take our health into our own hands and we realize that there are special things called ketosis, it's great. It just is a great way. The body just automatically goes into ketosis. I don't even have a scale right now. So this is not about weight loss. I don't have a scale. I won't be weighing myself. I'll just know that I'm slimming down and it will feel great. As I said, it's an added bonus. But already my breast feels great. I want these bumps to go away. These need to go away. That's not normal for me. And also, I have a little bit of dry skin on my legs. That's also caused by the liver. You know, this is not good. And I am in a process right now of doing this. Again, just to go back to what I'll be doing. The first thing when I wake up in the morning, I'm going to take my baking soda. Baking soda without aluminum. Okay, so you want baking soda without aluminum. Baking soda is pure salt. You need salt mineral to keep your body pumping properly. You take that with 6 ounces of water. That's what I'll be doing. The first thing I do is I wake up in the morning and I take that baking soda with 6 ounces of water. Now you don't want to do that all day long either, because doing something that's not within moderation is always, there's always a side effect. Okay, so make sure you do all this in moderation. Secondly, I'm going to be making myself a tea. Well, I have been making myself a tea. I just bought some cayenne today, but originally I was using thyme from my plant outside, like thyme herb with ginger. And then not yesterday, but the day before, I added a little bit of turmeric. But then I felt very tired because I drank it in the morning, and then by lunchtime I felt tired, and I was like, oh, this is something I need to drink at night before I go to sleep, because it kind of made me feel lethargic. Yesterday I didn't drink that at all. I just drank water, and I drank a little bit of ginger with water, hot water, and I was great. But tomorrow I'm going to start my day again, and tomorrow I'm going to try the cayenne with hot water in the morning, because I am a coffee drinker, and coffee I really did love. I'm not missing coffee at all. Not at all. Like, I'm so shocked. I loved it. But right now I'm not missing it, because coffee is another thing that is not good for your body. I don't want to batter my body any longer. So this is going to be my commitment to you guys. I'm going to be accountable to you guys. 40 days. I have 32 more days left. Pretty much a month left. And I know I can do this. And I'm going to keep you guys updated. Thankfully for me, I work from home. So I have the opportunity to be able to just chill and relax. If you have a job that you're doing a lot of lifting, or just a lot of, moving around, a lot of physical activity, I wouldn't suggest for you to do a fast. I would suggest for you to do healthy eating. Get rid of the steaks, get rid of the heavy meals and stuff like that, and just start eating lighter. But when you fast, you want to at least take some time out for yourself. Maybe do weekend fasts, like 36-hour fasts or 72-hour fasts on weekends when you're home. Just want to say to you guys, thank you so much for listening to me. And again, just stay with me. Let's go through the process together. I love you so much. Huge hugs, loads of love, big blesses. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and subscribe. If you already subscribed and you're a returning viewer, I love you. Take care, guys. Let's go on this journey together.